You didn't start the business because someone might laugh. You didn't post the video because someone might cringe. You didn't ask her out because someone might see you get rejected. You didn't go all in on the thing you actually care about because, what would people think? And so you did nothing. And you called it being cool. Here's the truth. The most successful, most respected, most genuinely alive men you will ever meet have one thing in common. At some point, they stopped caring about looking stupid. They went all in on something. They tried things that failed publicly. They were enthusiastic when enthusiasm wasn't cool. They looked cringe to people who were too afraid to look like anything at all. And while the cool, unbothered, too self-aware to try crowd was busy protecting their image, those men were building their life. Today's video is simple. Stop being afraid to be cringe, and I'll tell you exactly why. Smash like, subscribe for more Sigma Mindset content, and let's get into it. Let's define what cringe actually is. Cringe is what other people call things they're too scared to do themselves. Think about that. The word cringe, in the way it's used today, is almost always aimed at someone who is trying something, caring about something, putting themselves out there in a way that makes the observer uncomfortable. And why does it make them uncomfortable? Because it reminds them of what they're not doing. The guy posting his first YouTube video, cringe. The guy at the gym filming his progress, cringe. The guy who starts a business and talks about it openly, cringe. The guy who goes after what he wants without playing it cool, cringe. Notice what all of these have in common. Action, visibility, risk. Cringe is just the word that people who aren't moving use to describe people who are. Don't let it stop you. Truth 1, cool is the most expensive thing you'll ever buy, and it pays nothing back. Being cool means never looking too eager, never trying too hard, never caring too visibly, always having an exit, an ironic distance from whatever you're doing so that if it fails, you can say you weren't really trying anyway. And it feels safe, it feels controlled. But here's what cool actually costs you. Every time you hold back to protect your image, you don't try the thing. Every time you play it down to avoid judgment, you don't go all in. Every time you perform indifference to stay safe, you don't actually live. Cool is a defense mechanism. It is the armor that men who are afraid of failure wear so they never have to admit they wanted something and didn't get it. The cringe man, the one who tries visibly, cares openly, goes after things without the safety net of irony. He might fail publicly, but he is actually living. And living, even messily, is worth infinitely more than a perfectly curated image of a man who never risked anything. Truth 2, every man you respect was cringe before he was great. Go look at the early work of anyone who built something real. The first videos, the first attempts, the early posts, the beginning stages of the business, the body, the skill. Almost universally rough, awkward, unpolished, cringe by today's standards. Because that is what the beginning looks like, always. No one starts great, everyone starts cringe. The difference between the men who become great and the men who stay average is not talent. It is the willingness to be bad publicly for long enough to become good. The man who is too afraid of looking cringe never gets through the beginning. He quits before the skill develops, before the audience finds him, before the business turns a corner, before the body transforms. He protects his image so carefully that he never builds anything worth having an image about. Every rep you're too embarrassed to post, every idea you're too scared to share, every attempt you're too proud to make. That is the price of cool. And it is far too high. Truth 3, the people judging you are not building anything either. Here's something worth sitting with. Who exactly are you afraid of? Picture the person whose opinion is stopping you from starting? Are they further along than you? Are they doing the thing you want to do better than you could? Or are they just watching? Because the men who are actually building, who are locked in, focused, working on something real, are not sitting around cataloging your attempts and calling them cringe. They're too busy. The cringe police, the ones who mock, who judge, who laugh at people for trying, are almost always spectators. They chose safety over risk, image over action, the bleachers over the field. And somewhere underneath, the mockery is the awareness that you had the courage to try something they didn't. Don't let the bleachers decide what happens on the field. The only opinion that should matter is the one from the man in the mirror who knows whether you actually tried or not. Truth 4, trying to impress everyone is the fastest way to impress no one. This is the paradox at the heart of playing it cool. When you shape yourself around what you think other people want to see, when you sand down every edge, filter every genuine impulse, and perform a version of yourself designed for maximum approval, you become forgettable. Because there is nothing more unremarkable than a man with no rough edges, no genuine enthusiasm, no real opinions, no visible hunger. The men who are actually magnetic, who people remember, who people want to be around, are the ones who are unapologetically themselves. Weird about their interests, loud about their goals, unashamed of their enthusiasm. They don't try to impress everyone, so they end up impressing the right people. Stop curating yourself for a crowd that isn't paying attention anyway. Be specific, be genuine, be the version of you that actually exists when no one is watching. That man, the real one, the unfiltered one, the one you've been hiding to seem cool, is far more interesting than the performance. Here's what all of this comes down to. At the end of your life, you will not regret the times you tried and looked stupid. You will regret the times you didn't try because you were afraid of looking stupid. The embarrassment fades, the missed opportunity doesn't. The cringe post gets forgotten in a week. The business you never started haunts you for years. The awkward attempt gets laughed at once. The version of yourself you never became follows you forever. Every man who built something real has a collection of cringe moments behind him. Failures that were public, attempts that didn't land, early work that makes him wince looking back. And not one of them would trade those moments for the safety of having never tried. Because those moments, the awkward, messy, vulnerable, cringe moments, are the proof that he actually lived. That he chose the field over the bleachers. The attempt over the image. The life over the performance of one. Be cringe. Build anyway. That's the whole thing. So here's what we covered today. 1. Cringe is just the word people who aren't moving use for people who are. 2. Cool is a defense mechanism, and it costs you everything you actually want. 3. Every man you respect was cringe before he was great. 4. The people judging you aren't building anything either. 5. Trying to impress everyone is the fastest way to impress no one. Here's your challenge. This week, do the thing you've been holding back on because of what someone might think. Post the video, start the thing, say what you actually think, go after what you actually want. Let it be cringe, let people react however they react. And then keep going anyway. Because in 5 years, the only thing that will matter is whether you built something or whether you protected your image. One of those you can be proud of. Like this video if it gave you permission to stop playing it safe. Subscribe and turn on notifications, more of this every week. The world doesn't need more cool, unbothered, too careful to try men. It needs more men willing to be cringe on the way to being great. Go be cringe. I'll see you at the top.